Now, for those of you who say that the noise doesn't bother them, can you imagine your neighbor being stabbed and saying, well, it didn't bother me, so I can't imagine that it hurt that much? TrackRacket understands that some people are more tolerant to noise than others. If you are not bothered by the noise, that does not diminish our agony and our discomfort. To those who say we have no room to complain, for the airport is louder, I say to them, the airport noise is intermittent. It comes and it goes and it lasts for 20 seconds to less than 5 minutes. The airport does not impede normal recreational and necessary activities as we perform in our residences. The noise produced by the air show is only for 1 weekend per year, period. As to the noise produced by the testing of engines from airworks, that happened intermittently and only for a few minutes at the time. This information I did get from someone who used to work there. Jet fuel was very expensive and testing was kept to a minimal length of time to save money. And it was a sad day when Airworks packed their bags and said goodbye to Millville, tossing many dedicated workers out on the street. The bright side of that loss, though, was that the noise stopped. The quality of lives improved tremendously for the surrounding neighborhoods. Why would we want to go backwards? To those who say we are just a bunch of whiners, I say to you that all we want is our voices to be heard and our concerns answered. We have come together as a group because our concerns fell on deaf ears. The Millville City Commission and the racetrack owners ignored these concerns as well as legitimate statements by reputable sound experts in the planning stages. They ignored reports that the noise would be very difficult to impossible for residents to enjoy normal outdoor activities at decibel levels of 65 at a distance of 3,000 feet. That's right around the distance to Pareca Drive from the track's property line. Instead, we get an ordinance that says 80 decibels is the appropriate amount of noise for us to live with. You have feigned concern by adopting a sound ordinance that, as of September 2008, is not approved by the state. And it will never be approved by the state because it does not allow municipal ordinance that are more lenient, more lenient than the standards set into law. We are not whining. We are an organized, motivated group of adversely impacted taxpayers that are ready to voice legitimate concerns and accept only reasonable and effective actions from both the Commission and the track. Now, to those of you who say we want to close down the track, this couldn't be farther from the truth. We recognize the value and importance this industry can have to the economy of the city and the county. We have considerable amount of research that shows that other racetracks have worked with the community to lessen the impact of noise. The track owners, as well as the commissioners, are well aware of many solutions. Careful consideration of modifications may prove beneficial to all parties involved. We just want to be able to live in our homes and enjoy in relative peace and quiet our time here on earth. To allow a continual growth of an industry that adversely affects such a large population as the anchored tax base without adequate protection is unconscionable and inhumane. For those of you who defend the track to make unrestricted amount of noise because of all the jobs the endeavor brings, I say to you that the noise mitigation does not prevent jobs. Curtailing noise does not impede growth. On the contrary, proper noise mitigation can improve the climate for growth and foster goodwill within the community. Excessive noise is a detriment to the quality of life for all residents. It is absurd that just because someone is making money, they can also make huge amounts of noise. Now, for those of you who say, why don't you just move? I say, well, that's nice to know our fellow Millvillians are so caring and compassionate. There are families that have called this area of Millville their home for generations. Residents who have enjoyed a certain quality of life in the quiet neighborhoods that their families have toiled in years of hard work to afford the little pleasures of life. The protections of these rights should have been paramount in the Commissioner's list of actions when the track was first proposed. This noise pollution brought into their private spaces have robbed them of these rights. The stress, tension, and fatigue associated with exposure to long-term noise can result in uncontrollable stress, elevated blood pressure, sleep disturbances, especially for those who have to work at night. Severe depression resulting in a cascade of negative effects. Now, for those who find themselves thusly impacted, have the additional stress of being forced to sell their homes in an economic turndown of historic proportions at a significant loss. And this is okay for the town officials. This is acceptable collateral damage that results in this push for jobs. For those of you who say that this is just white noise and you'll get used to it, I say, this is not white noise. White noise is a steady, constant, low-pitch hum, like an air conditioner, like a refrigerator, like an oscillating fan. Noise generated by motor vehicle traffic on major highways can also be considered white noise, as it is constant and it does not change in pitch or frequency. All of these vehicles have mufflers that reduce the high pitch of a raw engine. What we are dealing with here is a noise that is high pitch, low frequency, erratic whine of unmuffled racing engines that scream around a track. It starts and stops without consistency, thus the human brain cannot regulate it or get used to it. Now, for those who say, what about all that crime in Center City? I say, do like we did, organize. Friends of Millville has done just that, and they make a significant contribution to the cause to reduce crime in the streets of Millville. Like us in our efforts, be a part of the solution. In conclusion, I respectfully request a meeting between the commissioners, the track officials, and TrackRacket to discuss these issues, and that it happen within the next 2 weeks before the racing season opens at the Motorsports Park. My contact information is listed, and I look forward to our first meeting. Respectfully yours, Michelle Post.